Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here. Bring you guys a little video, and I'm gonna be doing, finally getting around to doing my Q&A video that I said when I recently hit 3,000 subscribers, or even before that, before I hit 2,500 subs. Apologies for the delay, but now we finally are getting around to doing this. So I'm just gonna answer some questions that you all have sent to me. So here we go. First question comes from Evil Irv Cowart. He says, this is when I hit 2,500 subs, by the way. He said, congratulations on 2,500. Right on, thank you. My question is this: what is your favorite song lyric-wise and why? Keep rockin' and stay heavy, man. Well, first off, thanks, man. Favorite song lyric-wise? That's a tough one, man, because I love some of my favorite songs. I love Tornado Souls by Megadeth. Just like very just energetic, just really gets you pumping. But I also like some really epic songs like Sons of Winter and Stars by Wintersun. I just think that's really just gives off like the cold and kind of very epic kind of vibe, and also has a little bit of the Asian Japanese influence in that song. So that's pretty good. Next up is Daniel McCullough. He asks, what are your top 5 favorite albums of all time from any bands, plus honorable mentions? Well, for me, obviously my all-time favorite album, as many of you probably know, is of course Rust in Peace by Megadeth. My all-time favorite album, period. I have an original press, if you can see it, is signed by Dave Mustaine and David Ellison. Yeah, this is like my all-time favorite album, period. Nothing will ever top this album. Let's see if I can get this back in there. All right. And number 2 would obviously be Rain in Blood by Slayer. Just a very evil sounding record. Number 3, Master of Puppets by Metallica. Number 4, Among the Living by Anthrax. And number 5, Tomb of the Mutilated by Cannibal Corpse. Those are like my top 5 albums of all time. Now, honorable mentions probably be Painkiller by Judas Priest. Next question comes from Eddie Maiden. He asks, what's your most favorite Overkill album that you love? Years of Decay, no question. Like, I just remember first hearing Elimination, and that really just got me hooked on to Overkill. And in my opinion, I think Overkill are the most consistent band in metal. It's like age has not affected them whatsoever. Like, they've, in terms of like putting out albums, I've heard that they're about to put out album number 20. And they've been putting out albums since the debut album Feel the Fire, which came out in 1985. So that's a good one. Tyler asks, favorite concerts you've been to? For me, probably one of my favorite concerts is back in 2019, where I went up to Nashville to see Iron Maiden at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. That was a great time. That was my 3rd time seeing Iron Maiden. And I'm going to see them again in October in Greensboro, North Carolina, Within Temptation. So that's going to be a good one. And Iron Maiden are my favorite band. I'm trying to see them as much as I can because, you know, they ain't getting any younger. Let's see. Looking for more questions. Okay, next question is from Deuce Miseretto. That's probably butchered her name, but he says, way to go. Favorite Atlanta venue? Obviously, Masquerade in Atlanta. One of my favorite venues. I go to that place so much. I go to all the metal shows there to the point where all the staff knows me. If any of them are watching this, you guys are fucking awesome. Yeah, and of course I love to do interviews, and I've interviewed a lot of the bands there, and they know of that, and they say, wow, this guy's really awesome and he knows his shit. Favorite Atlanta band? Obviously Mastodon and Sevendust. They're like tied for there. They're just, I don't know, the A-Town got some good metal, you know what I'm saying? Favorite interviews so far? Probably back in March, where I interviewed Mikkel from Dark Tranquillity, or I just went through the albums as well as talked about his other bands, Grand Cadaver, and of course The Halo Effect. Still probably my top album of this year so far. And probably interviewing the legendary Danny Filth from Cradle of Filth. Now, the Danny Filth interview was good, but I kind of wish I could have done it better, because that interview was given to me actually last minute. And I remember I was actually working, because the time they had, if I could do it, was very last minute, and so at the job I had at the time, so I had to fake being sick just to get out of work to get home to do that interview, and I didn't have a whole lot of questions, so I did a history, and Danny kind of said a couple times in the interview saying, I don't think I have enough time to go talk about all the albums, which I was kind of pressuring him, and I do feel bad about it, but I actually ran into him the last time they were in Atlanta with Danzig, and I did apologize for him about it, and we all made up. It's all good there. And he says, anyway, your other question you asked, will you interview local Atlanta bands anytime soon? You know, I've actually interviewed a couple bands. I've interviewed my boys in Dungeon Filth. I interviewed my buddy Scott Tasem from Cloak. I've interviewed my boys in Actus Reus. So I have been thinking about it. Want to get some more at some point. So any bands, hit me up. Next question comes from Gray, and it's kind of weird. It's spelled Grey. He asks, do you have a favorite CD packaging? Mine is Tool, Fear Inoculum with the screen art, etc. I mean, usually I just prefer the standard like jewel cases. Sometimes the digipacks, but one of my least favorites is I'll show this out. This paper sleeve. I have the latest Lorna Shore EP that came out last year, signed by the band. It just comes in this fucking paper sleeve with the CD, and I just think it's a pain in the ass. Yeah, that's just really my opinion. Next question comes from Richard Wolf. He asks, ever plan on going abroad for a fest or to watch some shows? I have done it a couple times, you know. Back in May, I went to Maryland Death Fest for the first time, and that was amazing. I got to see a lot of legendary death metal bands like Cancer, Corner. Got to see Triptychon. I got to see Mortician. Of course, last weekend I was in Vegas for Psycho Las Vegas. I finally got to see Merciful Fate and Emperor, two bucket list bands, and that was awesome. And I've done like some little mini road trips just to see shows, mostly in like Alabama, Tennessee, and South Carolina, North Carolina. Now, so yeah, I have done that before. Okay, next couple questions are all from Bob Brown. He asks, what is your favorite band to see live? Probably Iron Maiden, Behemoth, Cannibal Corpse, Cradle of Filth, just to name a few. Some of my favorite bands. He also asks, I know you go to a lot of concerts. Do you have any idea how many concerts you've been to? Too many to count. And then you also asks, I know you're also a huge metal fan. I was wondering if you play an instrument. I wish. Next one comes from Heavy Metal Music of Destruction, Aiden French. He asks, what has been your favorite metal album, CD or vinyl of this year? So far, I'm loving the debut Halo Effect album, and I think that's really great when former members of In Flames make a better band than actual current In Flames. And it's really great, and I'm looking forward to seeing them in September next year. They're playing Prague Power. I'm really looking forward to that. That's, I believe, their first ever US show, unless they're doing like a US tour with some dates leading up to that and then after that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, and that will be amazing. So yeah, that's pretty much all the questions I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for the questions. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. I know we're a little over 3,000 right now, according to my the dashboard. I now have like 3,050 subs. So thank you guys so much for all the support. I believe it's been almost 10 years since I've had this channel. So thank you guys, and as always, keep it metal.